Welcome back to Bullet Catcher Gaming. This is, of course, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I'm very pleased to have Sandylands, which is Sandy. Hopefully a lot of you will know who he is by now. He's got his own channel on our Discord. If you want to join that Discord, the link is in the description below. He has put out a survey recently, multiple surveys actually, regarding the game, the future of the game, things that you want to see in the game, all those kind of things. We've made videos about it. I've seen some other YouTubers like A Squad Gaming, G Money, people like that, Basie, they've covered it too. And it's been on the forums, things like that. And Ubisoft have looked at these surveys and they have said that they would like to see the results for them. So here we are going to be providing you with the results across multiple videos as to not make the videos ridiculously long. So today's one is all about year 3. So we're going to go through the results with you of what we've had so far. Now, people are obviously still taking these surveys, so the stats may change slightly, but this is where we are currently with the survey. And like I said, we will be sending all of this to Ubisoft, who have asked for it. Now, Sandy is obviously here with me. Sandy is the creator of all of these surveys. If you haven't done a survey, the links will be in the description below. Please feel free to go and do them because we can carry on passing that information on. Sandy, well done. A lot of people I've seen on Facebook and things like that have said what a great job you've done putting these together. You've done a really excellent job. So we're going to start with your year 3. And
okay, yeah.
The first question that's up on screen right now is, would you like to see a year 3 for Breakpoint? Obviously, easy one to start with, and these are the answers right here, as you can see. Yes, 91%. No, 9%. What do you make of that?
I mean, it's an interesting one, because when you look on a lot of the forums, you look in Reddit, generally you tend to see more people saying, no, I'd rather see a new game. So I think it's how's the best way to describe it? I think, in a group mentality, I think it's easier just to bash Breakpoint, to be part of that kind of a crowd. But the survey seems to show something completely different in my eyes.
I think I think what's hard is that people do love this game, but so when you love something, it's also kind of easy to love to hate it at the same time.
Yeah.
No matter what you're into, you are going to criticize it when it's not up to the standard that you hoped. So I think even a lot of the people that are bashing the game, it's because they know it could have been better and what it could have been. I get people's frustrations, but that is a really interesting one, though. I thought it would be lower than that, I must admit. So okay, we got a lot of questions to get through, so we're going to get on to the next one. So the next question is, would you like to see Moa and the island to the southeast on the map opened up? Now, obviously, a lot of people were very disappointed not to have Moa, and very simple question. The answer is yes, 98%. I'm going to be honest, I expected a very high, probably 90% for yes for that, because people want things to play right now, don't they? Let's be honest. They want to play now. New. Yeah, I mean, even if they were told today that there's a new game and it's coming in 2 years, people would go, fantastic, really pleased about that. We'd still like something to play now, though. It would still want something new now, which I fully understand. So the next one is multiple answer questions. So it was, what type of things would you like to see that would be on those 2 islands? Now we've broken it down. We'll go through a few of them. You can see the answers here percentage wise. Now the number 1 was new towns in a city. That makes sense because you've got more hustle and bustle, maybe hopefully some more NPCs around, which we've all wanted to see.
Yeah.
And of course, number 2 there being heavily fortified enemy base. Of course, because we're all used to hitting the same bases again and again and again. So, of course, I expected those to be really high up on there. And we've also got breachable doors because, they were good when they were added in Amber Sky, and we want more of them. Heavily fortified enemy airfield, 100%. That would be fantastic. Enemy cargo ship, definitely something I'd love to see.
We've talked about that a few times.
Yeah, the sea's not utilised enough, considering there's so much of it. Underground locations, that's also up at the 8%. And then underneath that, you can see here, you can always pause the video if you want to go through it and check the answers. We just don't want to hang around forever and go through every single one, because, you know, we don't want to make the video hours long. I will say, interestingly, that I put the drones in there specifically because I wanted to hopefully show that that's the one thing that we don't want on the island. Yes.
So although there is some votes, you can see that it's, you know,
well,
it's massive.
You know, no matter what, some people still like gear scores. Some people still like drones. You know, okay, I think the majority of us don't. But some people do. So, you know, they're entitled to their opinion. That's the point of a survey, after all. Okay, so the next question, which enemies would you like to see on these islands? Answers are pretty close overall, as you can see. So, Sentinel 21%, Wolves 23, Red Wolves 18, Bodark 21, and the return of Los Estaneros 17. I'd love to see Los Estaneros return, or at least their skill sets anyway. It wouldn't necessarily have to be them. I'd like their skill sets. You know,
so that one was added because obviously everybody keeps on talking about a wildland. Like you hear a lot of people talk about Wildlands too, and obviously with that hint, the hints back to Bowman with Motherland, I just thought maybe that could be a route that they could go down. Yeah,
that makes sense, totally. So yeah, they pretty. You know, people would just like to see more enemies and different types of enemies, I think, overall. Okay, so the next question is, if there was another AI teammate update, what would you like to see added? Because obviously the last one was fairly...
lukewarm.
Yeah, let's call it lukewarm, shall we? I think so.
Yep.
So yeah, it didn't go down too well. So as you can see, here they are. Here we've got the results. So pretty close. I love the fact that none had 0%. But ability to breach was up there. More teammate conversation because it adds to the immersion, of course. Ability to select individual AI, give them independent commands. I'm shocked that that's not the clear winner.
To be fair, same.
Yeah, I thought it would be the clear winner. It's the biggest complaint that I saw when that update came out. And then obviously fairly close in there, like cleared heart, addition of Overwatch, things like that, for patrol formations, ability to stack. I thought that would be higher as well. And then you've got some of the others there. Like I said, you can pause it if you want to check. If you want to check on these answers. But you know, it's an interesting one. But yes, what do you think of those?
Yeah, I'm probably the same as you. I thought that, you know, giving them the independent commands would have been the number one. I thought that would have been first. You know, I thought clear top maybe would have been maybe a close second.
Yeah.
You know, with them, you know, just not running off and doing whatever they want.
That makes sense.
But yeah, so
interesting.
I mean,
yeah, it is an interesting one. So, okay, next question. So, if Ubisoft added a feature where you could call in a helicopter, pick up with an AI pilot, but it only flew to, say, the Outcast base or Erewhon, wasn't limited to what you could use that feature. Surprisingly, the results here are yes, people wanted it 74%, no 26%. Now, I did see some people talking about this where they were saying maybe they'd like the feature, but they would like it to work differently than how it was put in the question, which is fine. And it was, I think the question was a much more generalization, like to have that ability somehow, like it doesn't really matter how, as long as you have the ability to actually do it in the first place, would be kind of a nice thing. So if Ubisoft decided to give us
a lot of so for example, a lot of the, if you look back at obviously the episode 1 missions, a lot of them require you to then go back to Erewhon anyway. So it would be quite an interesting feature if you could, as you're coming close to the end of that, throw, say, a smoke grenade or launch a flare and the pilot comes in and gives you a hot pickup.
Yes, yeah,
You know,
totally.
in contact. That's my thought process behind it.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, if they decide to give us an Outcast update, which kind of things would you like to see within that Outcast update? So, they've put an Outcast progression system, was on 19%, ability to select patrolling, released Outcast to join you, 17. The number one winner here was the ability to call for Outcast reinforcements. That's the one I thought would win. The distraction was 23 and customize appearance 16. So reinforcements, that came out top only just, and the distraction underneath it, they were the two that I thought would clearly be the winners, and they were. Makes perfect sense. It's things that were available in Wildlands with the Rebel support, which is not available here, and we know that people want those. So next question, world modifiers, enemy AI, what options would you choose? So there were multiple answers for this one, so we'll just go through the top few. So the 9 and 8% we'll run through. So the top with the 9%, larger patrols, 8 to 12 man sentinels, 4 to 8 man wolves, the one that you used, but less frequent, and in patrol formation. That came out top. Enemy can adopt fire from kneeling and prone positions. I mean, that should be in the game anyway, I personally think. 9%. And then we've got MVGs on wolves, 8%. Day and night cycle, 8%. Radio operators can call in multiple reinforcements until killed, 8%. And then if you want to go through some of those others that are on there, like I said, please feel free to pause the video and you can go through the rest of those results there. But, there's some interesting ones in there. I thought possibly, I remember a few people early doors saying they wish they could change the language of the enemy. And surprisingly, that was very low. But I suppose, a lot of people don't care about that. So, but I just remember a lot of people talking about it. So interesting that it was at the very bottom down there. So next question that we have, should each enemy faction have their own separate world modifier? It's an interesting question, and the answer was yes, 77%, no, 23%. What did you make of that?
I think that's pretty much where it should be, to be fair, because I think people would like to have that clear distinction between how good Sentinel are, how good the wolves are, and how good the red wolves are. There should be some clear distinction on how much harder they become when you encounter them. Yeah, I agree. If Sentinel, for example, only engaged at a maximum of 200 meters, where the wolves could engage at 300 meters, and red wolves, remember, by 350. I think it would give a bit better level. It would feel harder if you had to start to engage enemies, or if they were engaging you at 300 meters instead of 50 meters. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think it's an important one, and as we saw, a lot of people want that added. So, which of these would you like to see added as new enemy types? Once again, a multiple answer here, and there's a lot, so we'll just cover the top few. Sentinel Medic, that would be a good one. Wolves Commander, now that's a really good one. That's the one I voted for. Really want to see a Wolf Commander like out in the field as opposed to just in a mission. That would be cool. Wolves Medic, Wolves Tracker, Bodoc soldiers in the above categories, Sentinel, LMG gunners, that would be nice. And then we've got, pretty much all the other ones there, but you can pause it and have a look if you want to. But yeah, that's a good one. So next one, should Blood Wolves be added to the main island of Aroa? Whether you've played the raid or not may be dependent on your answer on this one, but it was yes at 65%. There are lots of people who haven't played it. There still are. We know this for a fact. People talk about it, they haven't played it. Yes, they are harder. Are they considerably harder? Not really, but they are a bit harder.
I don't see why they couldn't put them on there just to change things up a bit. But there's also things in the raid like there are mines on Moa, not Moa, Golem in the raid. Why aren't there mines around bases and things? There's lots of things that they could add from that too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So, would you like to see new daily faction missions added? We made a video about improving faction missions. If you want to check that out. It was 84% for yes and 16% no. Lots of people, especially guys that we know, there's plenty of people on our Discord, for example, who regularly go and do their faction missions every day. They log on, they do their faction missions, and that is what they do. I think changing them up a bit, using some different locations, different styles, different gameplay types, would definitely give people more to do than just the same old go and steal this vehicle and exactly the same type of thing that you get over and over. Defenders do that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen so many really good suggestions, between the forums and Reddit and stuff, on either changes to the current missions or new faction missions that would really, really enhance the daily gameplay.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Even just something as simple as there's a train. We've got a train on the island. Make it a faction mission to somehow either try and blow up or stop the train.
Yeah, and we have tried. We made a video about that a long time ago. Yeah, we have tried. The next question leads on from that. It's about faction missions being added to Golem or Moa, for example, if they were to open it. The answer is yes, 84%, and no, 16%. I'm surprised, to be honest. I don't like everyone, each to their own opinion, but I'm surprised because if you add them to Golem, then it's just more things for you to do and changes up them. I thought this would be a resounding, pretty much almost 100%, because why would you not? You may as well. They're there, so the island's there. You may as well put them there. But each to their own. You may not think it's necessary. So, should the faction storyline missions be brought back? Interesting question. But 88% said yes and 12% said no. What do you make of that?
I think, once again, I think that's about right. I think that the faction storyline, the actual faction storyline missions themselves, were something that you did kind of look forward to. It was that separate mini story in between that would have kept the game fresh in my eyes. So you knew you were doing them every 6 weeks. They changed over when it first came out. So you knew the faction missions would update. The main one would update every 6 weeks, and you would have a continuous story. And I think because that story hasn't been answered, I think people still want to see it.
And I think it's because, like we've talked about in podcasts and thing before, there's just not enough people working on this game anymore for them to keep that kind of thing going. But which is a sad reality. But we'll see what happens with the next update. So, in regards to the faction mission storyline missions, should they also bring back a modified version of the faction rewards system? I know what this answer should be. And it's yes, 82%, no, 18%. I'm shocked by that, if I'm honest, that there is a percentage that said no, because why would you not want more for free?
The only thing I think that they might have said no is because the last version of it was obviously quite buggy. So when I say refined, what I'm thinking is there's no time limits to it.
Yeah, I agree.
That was the biggest thing for a lot of people. When they made it a time limited thing, a lot of people were unhappy with that because everybody has a time to play.
No, that's very true. That is very true. That's a really good point that you raised. So, okay, next question. Would you like to see new locations added onto the main island? This would include new underground and water-based locations. Well, I definitely want to see water-based locations. So this should be a resounding yes.
Agreed?
Yeah, 93% agreed. You definitely expected to see that. We need more variation in the bases, especially if they were to add new ones. we don't want to see the same type of thing. We do need to see something new. Will we get it? I doubt it very much. You're probably looking at next game for something like that. In year 3, would you like to see martial law lifted with civilians going back to the daily routine? I'm going to hold my breath on this one, but it is yes, 90%. And I think that hopefully this is one of the things that I want Ubisoft to pay real good attention to. Don't create an open world game with nobody in it, because it does not work. It makes everything too clinical. When you make a world like a rower and everything is white buildings and stuff like that, and then you have no people walking around, I always call it Apple Island, because it just looks like something that Apple would just build some weird thing. Do you know what I mean? It's just it's far too clinical, the island. It doesn't feel lived in, and I get it. I understand that was the purpose of the story as such, but that story's done. It's gone. Exactly. We're not in that story anymore. So yes, that would be great to see them driving around and stuff. So for year 3 content, would you like to see any crossover events? This one's always a bit iffy. It's 65% yes, 35% no. I get it. I totally understand, because I think when you say crossover, people think of Terminator and Tomb Raider. You could easily do a good crossover. Like, I think most people in Wildlands, for example, they did, some of the crossovers were very, very good. In Breakpoint so far, not so good. Rainbow Six, it was all right. It was decent, but it was very buggy.
Yeah,
very buggy, that one. So I do understand why people were hesitant on that one.
The main one for Amber Sky, though, I think everybody will agree, was the fact that they didn't code in the respirators that were already in game.
Yeah, that made no sense at all. No sense at all. Okay, so which crossovers from the TC universe, if any, would you choose? We're going to have to start calling it that from now on, the TC universe. This was really obvious. Future Soldier 30%, won by a long mile, and then Splinter Cell 19%. Yeah, I thought that would be number 2. And then surprisingly, we've got Jack Ryan at 17%, decent character. And then you've got Rainbow Six 15%, you've got Hawks 12%, and then none at 6%. So some people are saying, if there's a small percentage of people still saying don't put any of them in and just concentrate on this game. But Future Soldier, we all know that people want Future Soldier stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get some Future Soldier in the next update, if I'm honest. Something to do with that, some link to Future Soldier. If anything, just to shut us up.
The Jack Ryan one is the one that I think is most interesting, because obviously with the reboot Without Remorse, you could start re-adding in certain characters if you were going off that timeline. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be Jack Ryan. It could, for the books, it could be Jack Ryan Jr. It could be Ding Chavez. There's loads of other characters that you could add into that.
Yeah.
That would still play really well within the TC universe.
Yeah, I agree. Right, would you like to see community events return, like as in Wildlands, for say like the Yeti and LTO, which is basically what Tomb Raider should have been, just a little simple community event? Yes, 79%, no, 21%. For me, they didn't. They in Wildlands, they never pressed them as like a DLC or look, we've made. It was like an added bonus. That's how I looked at those. And if throw in as many added bonuses as they want, as long as they don't interfere with DLC and things like that you're actually creating for the game. If they're just adding them in and you're doing them, put them in there. Why not? You don't have to play them after all. You can ignore them if you want to.
Exactly.
So yes, all day long for me, I would put those in. If a large selection of these choices were made and added for year 3 content, would you be happy to pay a small fee for a pass? to include, say, missions, cosmetics, weapons, vehicles, bug fixes, etc. I think this one's quite obvious. It's 83% for yes, no 17%. People want more content for this game and they are prepared to pay for it. I think that's very obvious.
I think that'll surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
This is the one that I think will surprise people the most, because, when you do hear people talking about if there's more content, it's always, well, it should be free. It should be free because year 1 was terrible and year 2 hasn't been much better, so it should be free. So it's quite, to me, it was a surprise to actually see as many people as there is actually saying, you know what, actually, if they added this stuff, yeah, I would.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense, to be honest. Complete sense, and I do understand. So, obviously, the end of the survey was just about where you found it. We don't really need to go into that. And we did ask for people's feedback, which so I can pass this on to Ubisoft. And we asked if you answered no to question 1, could you provide a reason to why? So people did provide us with a bit of feedback on that, and we'll pass that on. So it's already been a fairly long video. This is obviously the survey for the year 3. We will have the other results for the other surveys that are out there. They will be coming this week and next week, so keep an eye out for them. Sandy, thank you so much for creating these surveys. Hopefully, because of these surveys, we're going to see some improvements, maybe in this game, or maybe they will take some of these and make sure that they are included in the next game. So whatever, I do believe that you will have done some excellent work here for the community, and you should be commended for doing that. So, taking your time to do it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining me on the video. Thank you guys for filling out the survey, and also thank you for watching. Take care, and we will see you on the next one. Bye bye.